English Sonnet till Shakespeare. The word sonnet is derived from the Greek word sonetto, meaning a sound. It is a short lyric of 14 lines, and Petrarch used this form of the lyric to express his love for his beloved Laura. And this was called Petrarchan love poetry all over Europe in the 16th century. Petrarch divided his sonnets into two parts, the octave of 8 lines and the sestet of 6 lines, with a pause after the eighth line. It was Sir Thomas Wyatt (1503 to 1542) who introduced the sonnet into England. He was a young courtier in the court of Henry VII, and he frequently visited Italy on diplomatic missions. It is the Petrarchan form of sonnet that Wyatt follows. Wyatt's true ability and skill is revealed not by the sonnets but by the songs and lyrics he has left behind. Henry Howard, Earl of Surrey (1516 to 47) was the younger contemporary and disciple of Wyatt. He never visited Italy, but it was through his friend Wyatt that the Italian influence fired his imagination. Surrey wrote sonnets in which he expressed his entirely imaginative love for Geraldine or Lady Elizabeth Fitzgerald. Though he follows the Petrarchan convention of courtly love, but he does not follow the Petrarchan model of the sonnet. He divides his sonnets into 3 quatrains, with a couplet at the end. Thus he is the first to use that form of the sonnet which came to be called Shakespearean from the great dramatist's use of it. Wyatt and Surrey died young. Their songs and sonnets were published posthumously in Total's Miscellany, a verse collection with the finest gems of Elizabethan lyricism. Another name in the history of Elizabethan sonnet is that of Sir Philip Sidney. His sonnet sequence, Astrophel and Stella, was published in 1591. His sonnets express his passion for Penelope, who was by that time the wife of Lord Rich. He expresses his regret for lost happiness and the dilemma in his virtuous heart between virtue and desire. The publication of Astrophel and Stella caught the imagination of the people and gave rise to the vogue of the sonnet. Mostly it was used to express their love for an imagined mistress. This accounts for the artificiality of most of the Elizabethan sonnets. Sonnets were written merely because it was the fashion to write sonnets and not because they had the passion to write it. Spenser has written a collection of about 88 sonnets. They express Spenser's love and courtship for Elizabeth Boyle, the lady who became his wife later. His sonnets come between Sidney and Shakespeare, but they are different in form and sentiment. They consist of 3 quatrains followed by a couplet linked together by an artistic arrangement of lines. They express the pure love of a betrothed lover about to marry his lady and thus differs from the Petrarchan convention of a lover expressing his love for a married lady. Shakespeare wrote 154 sonnets which were first published in 1609. It is in the sonnets alone that the poet directly expresses his feelings. They have literary qualities of the highest order. A study of the Elizabethan sonnets reveals the following features. They appear in sequences and not singly. They are mostly written because it is the fashion to write sonnets. Most of them are artificial. The Petrarchan convention is generally followed. The lady is shown as cold and cruel, and the lover frequently on the point of death. There is imitation, often translation of foreign models, more of French and Italian. The English form of the sonnet is generally used after Sydney. Their theme is always love, generally for a married lady. This lady, in most cases, is the creation of the poet's imagination. Shakespeare's sonnets can be divided into two categories owing to their themes and subject matter. His earlier sonnets from 1 to 126 are written about a young man whom the poet loves and admires. The remaining sonnets 127 to 154 addresses a promiscuous lady known as the Dark Lady. The theme is about unrequited love, ill desires, and sensuous acts. Although Shakespeare has established his reputation as a playwright, his sonnets are regarded as one of the most beautifully composed poems in English literature.